We continue now at the top of Daf Yodalet and Beis Meseches Gittin. This is Gittin 14b. The Gemara continues an incident with Rav Achi Rabbi Yoshia. He had a silver vessel in Nahar Doi. Amar Luhul Rav Dustoi Rav Yanai ul Rav Yosi Bar Kifar. So he said to Rav Dustoi Rav Yanai and Rav Yosi Bar Kifar, Bahade do asisu asyu and hili. When you come from there, when you come from Nahar Doi, so bring this item to me. Azal Yahavi Nehili, so they came, and the people who were supposed to give it, they gave it over to them. Amri Lu, and they said to them, Niknu min aichu, let's make a kinyan. In other words, take responsibility for the item that you're delivering back. Amri Lu, they said to them, Lo, no, we're not going to do it. Amri Lu, they said to them, Ahadrin Nehilin, if that's the case, then return it to us. We're not giving it to you unless you make a kinyan, assuming responsibility for the item. Rab Dustoi Rav Yanai Amar Luhin. Rab Dustoi Rav Yanai, he said yes. He said, meaning, I will return to you the item. Rabbi Yosi Bar Kifar Amar Luhu Lo. Rabbi Yosi Bar Kifar, he said, no, we're not going to return the item, and we don't need to take responsibility. It's going to be your responsibility. So they were physically bothering, harming Rabbi Yosi Bar Kifar to get him to change his mind. And the Gemara continues, Amru Lo, so they said to Rabbi Dustoi, Chazimar Hechi Kavid, look what Rabbi Yosi Bar Kifar is doing. He's not giving us the item back. Amar Lu, he said to them, Tav Ramule, that's good. What you're doing is correct. Keep hidden. So when they came to Rav Achi Rabbi Yoshia, Amar Lei said to him, Chazi Mar lo mistay de lo sayin, look, master, not only did he not help me out, Elo Amar Luhu Nami Tav Ramula, he said to them further, he said, keep hitting me. It's not appropriate what Rav Dustoi did. Amar Lei, so he said to him, Amai Tavid Hachi, he said to Rav Dustoi, why'd you do that? Amar Lei, so he said back to him, Osam b'nei Adam, hey nama, v'kova nama, those individuals, they're namatal, their hats are namatal, u'medaver mechetziyin, they speak from their midsection, meaning they have very deep voices, u'shmoseyin muvuhalin, and they have scary names, Arda, V'arta, Ufili Beresh, names like Arda and Arta, and Fili is at their head, he's their leader. Omrin kafosu kofsin, if they say tie someone up, they tie him up. Omrin harogu hargan, if they say kill him, they kill the person. Ilu hargu es dustoi, had they killed dustoi, meaning if they would have killed me, minasan liyanai abba bar kamosi, who would give Yanai, my father, a son like me, meaning I didn't want to die, and so therefore that's why I said keep hitting him. Amar Lei, so he said to him, B'nei Adam halolu krovim l'malchus, are these individuals, are they close to the government? Amar Lei hein, he said yes. Yesh len susim upredim shiratzim achareim, do they have horses and mules that are running after them? Amar Lei hein, he said yes. Amar Lei, so he said to him, Yachi, if that's the case, shaper avadet, what you did was correct. You shouldn't start up with individuals like this. And the Gemara continues at the two dots, Holech mana leploni v'halach uviksha v'lo matzo. Let's say a person says to a shliach, take this mana to so-and-so, and then he goes and he looks for him, he doesn't find him. Tani chada yachzor l'meshaleach, one brisa says they should be returned, the money should be returned to the meshaleach, the one who sent. V'tani yidach, and another brisa says, liyorshe misha nishtalchu lo, it should be given, the money should be given to the inheritors of the person who it was sent to, they inherit that money. And the Gemara says, Leima b'hakam miflagi. Let's say they're arguing about the following. The Mar Savar Holech Kizachi, that one says Holech is Kizachi, meaning the moment the Shliach takes it, he's actually Zochid on behalf of the person receiving it, and therefore it goes to the Yarshim. Umar Savar Holech Lav Kizachi, and the other one says Holech is not like Zachi, and therefore the receiver does not receive it till he physically receives it, and so therefore if the person who's supposed to receive it is no longer alive, it goes back to the Meshaleach. Amar Rabbi Abba Bar Mamel says, Dekuli Alma Holech Lav Kizachi. Really everybody agrees Holech is not Kizachi. For location, it's not difficult. In one case, we're talking about a healthy person, and in another case, we're talking about a shchimera. And as Rashi over here says, "Bebari yachzor l'mishalech the holech lav kizachi dami." By a healthy person, it goes back to the mishalech because holech is not like zachi. B'zel lo shalacha lo mekabel v'lo liyarshav. He meant to send it to the mekabel. He didn't want to send it to the yarshim. He didn't want to send it to those who inherited the mekabel. And that's all true by a bari. But the Gemara is saying by a shchimera that's not the case. By a shchimera, the holech is considered kizachi, and therefore it goes to the yarshim of the mekabel. And the Gemara continues. Rav Zvid Amar Rav Zvid says, "Hava haba shchimera." Both cases, both prices are talking about a shchimera. Hadi isel mekabel b'shas matan mos. In one case, the mekabel is alive at the time the money was given to the shliach, and hadi lesel mekabel b'shas matan mos. In the other case, the mekabel was not alive at the time the money was given to the shliach. And Rashi explains, Hava haba shchimera the holech didei zachihu. Again, by a shchimera, we're saying that the holech is kizachi, and hadi isel mekabel ba'olam b'shas matan mos. At the time that the money was given to the shliach, the mekabel was alive. U'shliach zocha ben miyad u'chashamei zochu yarshim mikocho. So immediately when the shliach takes it, he's zocha in it on behalf of the mekabel, and now it goes to the yarshim. And had the lezel mekabel shekavar meis. But if the mekabel already died at the time it was given to the shliach, v'zelo hayoyodei, he didn't realize that the mekabel had died. Nimtza zechia beto. So that's a zechia that's made by mistake, an error. V'lo kana yarshin. So in that situation, the yarshim will not inherit. And the Gemara continues, Rapapa says, Hava haba bebari, both brises are actually talking about a healthy individual. Had mis mekabel b'chayin nosin. In one case, we're talking about a situation where the mekabel died while the giver was alive, and had mis nosin b'chayin mekabel. In the other case, we're talking where the person who was giving it, he actually died before the mekabel died while the mekabel was still alive. And in such a situation, when the nosin died while the mekabel was still alive, so then we employ another principle. We employ the principle of mitzvah l'kayim divrei hames, and that's why in that situation, it's as if it goes to the Makabel and the Yarshim would receive it. And Rashi explains, Hava haba bari v'holech didei lav kizachi dami. Again, by a healthy person, holech is not kizachi. Had mis mekabel b'chayin nosen yachzur l'meshaleach. In a case where the mekabel dies while the nosen is alive, so then it has to be given back to the meshaleach. The lo zocha ben mekabel, because the mekabel, he was never zochin it. Va'afilu meis hanosen b'chazir hashliach ein kar misham mitzvah l'kayim divrei hames. And in this case, if the nosen dies, there is no mitzvah l'kayim divrei hames. Shekodem misaso batlu devar mishas misas mekabel, because since the mekabel died first, so everything he said is batal, it's nullified, and we don't have any words to be mekayim. But the Brisa which says it's given to the Yorshim of the Mekabel, the mis nosen la'achar shemasarin the shliach. The nosen gives it to the shliach, and then the nosen dies first. Meis v'adayin l'Mekabel chay, and it's still the Mekabel is still alive in that case. So hilgach mishas misas hanosen zocha b'Mekabel. At the moment the nosen dies while the Mekabel is alive, the Mekabel actually is zocha mishum the mitzvah l'kayim divrei hames v'afilu hayabari, because there's a rule of mitzvah l'kayim divrei hames even if he was healthy. And the Gemara continues, Leima holech kizachi tanoihi. Let us suggest that this issue of whether holech is considered like zachi, let us suggest that's a machlokas tanoim. The Tanya, as we learned in the following brisa, holech mana leploni, again, the same case. A person says, take this mana to so-and-so, v'halechu viksho v'lo matzo. He goes, he looks for him, he doesn't find the guy, yachzur l'mishalech. So in that case, if you can't find the guy, you return it to the mishalech. Meis mishalech. Now what happens if the mishalech dies? Rabbi Nasan and Rabbi Yaakov amru yachzur liyorshi mishalech. Rabbi Nasan and Rabbi Yaakov say it goes back to the inheritors of the mishalech. It does not go to the person who's supposed to receive it. And some people say it goes to the yorshim of the person who's supposed to receive it, of the mekabel. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi Amar Mishum Rabbi Yaakov Shamar Mishum Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says in the name of Rabbi Yaakov, in the name of Rabbi Meir, mitzvah l'kayim divrei hames. In this case where the mishalech dies, so there's a mitzvah to fulfill his words, it should go to the yorshim of the person who's supposed to receive it. The Chachamim say divide it. And here they say kol ma sheyirtza shliach yasa, whatever the shliach wants to do, he does. Amr Rabbi Shimon HaNasi, Rabbi Shimon HaNasi says, Al Yodi Hoyamaisa, this incident happened with me. V'yamru Yachzor Liyorshim Mishalech, and the psak was, they said to return it to the inheritors of the Mishalech. And so the Gemara says, My la b'haka miflagi, isn't it true that they're arguing about this exact issue, meaning the issue of Holech Kizachi? The Tanakama Sover, because the Tanakama holds Holech Lav Kizachi, Holech is Lav Kizachi. That's why the Tanakama say, if they couldn't find the person they were looking for, Yachzor L'Mishalech, it goes back to the Mishalech. Rabbi Nasan, Rabbi Yaakov, Nami Holech Lav Kizachi, and Rabbi Nasan and Rabbi Yaakov, they also say Holech Lav Kizachi, and they take it a step further. V'yafagav demis, they say even if the Mishaleach died, Lo Amrina Mitzvah L'Kayim Divrei Hames, we don't say Mitzvah L'Kayim Divrei Hames, and again that's why they say it goes back to the Yorshei Mishaleach. V'yeshomrim and the Yeshomrim, they hold Holech Kizachi, Holech is Kizachi, and that's why they say if you can't find the person you're looking to give it to, that person has died, so you give it to the Yorshim of the person who was supposed to receive it, because Holech Kizachi, it's as if the person got it immediately when it was given to the Shliach. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi Amar Mishum Rabbi Yaakov Shomar Mishum Rabbi Meir Holech Lav Kizachi. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi in the name of Rabbi Yaakov in the name of Rabbi Meir, he holds Holech is Lav Kizachi Miu, but nevertheless Heicha Demis. If you have a situation where the Mishaleach died, Amrinon Mitzvah L'Kayim Divrei Hames. In that case, we say Mitzvah L'Kayim Divrei Hames, and that's why we say that it does go to the inheritors of the person who was sent to. The Chachamim say Yachloku, they say divide it. Mesafkalahu, they have a suffix, and that's why they say divide. The Kanam Rushu Da'adif, and over here they say it's better to leave it to the Shliach to decide, again because it's a situation of suffix. For Rabbi Shimon HaNasi, Maisa Asal Ashmin, and Rabbi Shimon HaNasi, he's brought in the Brisa because he's just brought to show that there was an incident like this. And Rashi explains, V'kan Amru, here they say that refers to Bavel, that refers to Bavel. Bavel is here. Mashiyirtza Shliach Yasa, and then there was an opinion that whatever the Shliach wants, he does, meaning to say, L'fi Mashara B'daitel Shemashalech. It's not whatever he wants, but it's what he saw in the mind of the Mishalech. And Ma'isa Eino Yavad B'matanazu, if it looked like the Mishalech was generous, V'yoev Esamakavel V'esbanav, and he liked the person who was receiving it, and he liked the children, so then you assume that you can give it to the inheritors of the person who was sent to. And the Gemara continues, lo, no, that's not the explanation of the Brisa, but bori dekuli ama lo pligi. If the Brisa would have been referring to a healthy individual, there actually would be no machlokas. And Rashi says, bebori kuli ama lo pligi delav kezachi dami. Everyone would agree by a healthy person that holech is not considered to be like zachi. And here in this Brisa, we're talking about a situation of a shchimera, a person who's on his deathbed, and they're arguing about the same machlokas that Rabbi Elazar and the Rabbanan had. Rashi says, because he considers a shchimera to have the same status as a bari. That's as we learned in the Mishnah, let's say a person is dividing up his property and he's doing it verbally. Rabbi Elazar Omer echad bari ve'echad masukan. Rabbi Elazar says, whether we're talking about a healthy individual, whether we're talking about a person who's in danger of dying, if you're talking about property with achrayis, meaning you're talking about property that does not move like land, so niknin bekesev uvishtar v'chazaka. So then the kinyan is made either through money or through a shtar, a document, or through chazaka, taking possession. But if it's movable property, there's no lien on the property. Ein niknin ela b'mashicha. The only kind of kinyan that can work is mashicha, meaning you do a physical kinyan, you pull the item. The chachamim say elu ve'elu niknin ba'amir. In both situations, both kinds of property, the kinyan takes effect verbally through the words that are stated. And Rashi says, Al piv al pitzav also mechalik and chasav levanav. In other words, he's instructing what to do with his property. V'lo kashar morishim shecholkim hayorshim b'shav. And not in like a normal situation where they're just dividing equally everything. Here he's explaining what to give to whom. B'kasav uv'shtar v'chazak sheb'kachem niknim min abari. Meaning he's saying, according to Rebbe Elazar, the same kinyan that's used by a healthy person is used by a shchimera. U'shchimera nami l'Rebbe Elazar ilavak ninu b'hachi lo miknu. By a shchimera also, if you don't do an appropriate kinyan, it's not going to work according to Rebbe Elazar. And again, the Chachamim argue, they say that by a shchimera, the kinyan can be made by Amira, by the statement alone. And the Mishnah continues, Amru lo, they said to him, Ma'isa b'iman shel b'nei Rochel, there was an incident with the mother of the sons of Rochel, Shahaisa Chola, that she was sick. V'amra, and she said, Tinasen, give over, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Tesvav Amud Aleph.